2026, we'll get a new picture.
Got it.
But here we go. Let's do a couple of these quickly.
Yes.
Would Kmart be shocked if the Rams are one and done in the postseason?
Greeny, I would be shocked. Listen, I understand a terrible night for Matthew Stafford, but he's still one of the best quarterbacks. Still, we were just having him in the MVP discussion, and Puka Nacua is still on this team. I think they'll be fine.
Would Kmart be shocked, is the next one, if the Bears wind up winning the NFC and winding up in the Super Bowl?
Okay, Greeny, this will surprise me, but I would not be shocked. Listen, this is a team that I said was a year ahead of schedule. And I'm going to change that opinion. They are exactly where they're supposed to be. Listen, they have proven that they can hang with anybody. And this year of all years, it is anyone's year. I totally think they can.
They're one play away at this point from maybe being the one seed in the NFC. And then finally, we're going to sort of turn this last Kmart shocked into the next conversation, because the question is, would Kmart be shocked if the Steelers missed the playoffs? And that obviously is a game that you were covering for us on Sunday night. Ravens at Steelers. Winner wins the AFC North. Loser goes home into a very long and bitter off-season. So let's go down the hall, or down the hall. Let's stay here where we are. Let's go down the aisle and start with this game. Because before we can look forward with the Steelers, we have to look back at what was an absolutely crushing loss on Sunday.
I was on this show the Friday after Tampa Bay lost to Atlanta in a game where Atlanta was eliminated, didn't have Drake London, had 19 penalties. I said it was the worst loss any team had of the regular season. I think last week's loss for the Steelers in Cleveland was the worst loss any team had in the regular season. It was all in their hands. You win it, you're set, you're good, you get a bye, you can rest everybody. DK comes back for the playoffs. Instead, it was their worst offensive output of the entire season. And what's really worrisome for me is without DK Metcalf and without Calvin Austin and with an injured Darius Washington, suddenly the season comes down to this one drive. And when you build a team, you do so at the combine, you're working on that. You do it March in free agency. You do it at the draft. You build it all training camp. To go to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a December acquisition on the three biggest plays of the season, back to back to back, that tells me that they're in emergency mode.
Yeah.
And I have no confidence that this offense is suddenly going to snap their fingers and be back to the one that we saw beat the Dolphins on Monday night a couple weeks ago.
You were on the field for that drive.
Guys, picture it. I'm standing there. I'm on the Brown sideline. And then I look up at the clock, 1:44 to go. And I'm like, oof, Aaron got the ball. I might have to run across the field back to the Steelers sideline. But I'm thinking in that moment, Aaron's going to do it. Then he hits Freiermuth. And he hits Freiermuth again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on the wrong sideline. And then the back-to-back throws to MVS. And you're thinking, how did they just blow that? Going into that game, all the Steelers players I spoke to said, we have a chance to completely put this to bed. We got ourselves in this position, but we can take care of business. And when you walk away from that game, now you're thinking, okay, are we looking at an offseason where if the Steelers lose, are they going into next offseason with the same questions they had in this offseason, which is, who's our quarterback? Because this very well could be Aaron Rodgers' last game, and Mike Tomlin has said, I will do everything in my power to make sure it's not.
That last play that you saw, which was the fourth down pass to MVS in the corner of the end zone, that most certainly would have been to DK Metcalf as he is there.
Right.
But there's no point in relitigating that. He's not going to be there Sunday in a game they need to play. So, J-Mac, how do the Steelers win this game without him?
And I think when we look back at that game, it wasn't just the last three plays to MVS. It was throughout the game that they were trying to find a way to get explosive plays down the field. And Hembo gave me the stat. Aaron Rodgers, 35 explosive pass plays. 15 of them have gone to DK Metcalf. Throughout the course of this game, he is looking to go to that one-on-one look, but he couldn't. These guys couldn't get open. This one's Adam Thielen, one-on-one, can't get open against Campbell. These were those opportunities. So now the catch and run, the same thing that we've seen go to DK, he wasn't there. So you look at this offense for Arthur Smith, their coordinator. How do you go into this game and find a way to manufacture guys open? Freiermuth, as you said, is a great option. But with the receivers you have to make them better. Aaron Rodgers likes to line his guys up, know where they are, and be able to pick a matchup and go to it. You're not going to win any of those matchups. You have to see more movement, guys going in motions, one guy standing behind a guy in a stack, three guys close together, trying to force the defense to communicate and will guys open, because one-on-one, they're not going to beat Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey and those guys on the outside, Kyle Hamilton included.
It's not just the fact that they are without DK. Now they're down Darnell Washington, huge tight end. Going into
Literally and figuratively.
Literally.
Yeah.
But also in that game, they did not have Calvin Austin, a speedy guy as well. There's hope that not only will Austin be back, but potentially TJ Watt. So we have to stay and watch that. But there could be reinforcements coming.
The Lamar Jackson of it all, we will wait and see if he practices today. That's an enormous storyline here. Will he or won't he play? We'll start getting some answers to that as we work our way forward. And then to me, that's a little picture stuff. That's what this game, how it will be decided. To me, the bigger picture here is almost a little more interesting because I think it gets very noisy very quickly around whichever team loses on Sunday night.
The two longest tenured coaches in the NFL going up against each other in games where these seasons were going in limping into the playoffs. Regardless of the winner, they're going to be underdogs in that wild card round at home. That said, the loser is almost more interesting than the winner because then we wake up Monday morning and say, have we gotten the most we can out of John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson this era? Is it time to part ways? In the same breath, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again. Do we think that the Steelers are suddenly going to have another chance to go to the Super Bowl next year with Mike Tomlin? What will be fascinating is the discussions internally with both because neither one of these coaches are just going to wake up and be told, hey, you're out of work. It's going to be a discussion between the coach and the ownership, whether this is something they want to continue with. And we've had no indication from either side that both of these coaches definitely want to come back next year if they don't make the playoffs. I would add this. Coaching opportunities for both of them, sure. Harbaugh, Tomlin, there will be a line for them to be interviewed to be head coaching candidates. Television opportunities for both. Adam Schefter hit it this week. I'm going to double down on this. I know Mike Tomlin has a seat at multiple tables when he wants to retire. John Harbaugh has worked the Super Bowl pregame show the last 2 times NBC has had the Super Bowl.
Right.
John Harbaugh would be a very coveted television personality. So even if it's a year away, take some time to rest, watch the league from afar, I think both these coaches are going to be coveted as coaches and broadcasters if they're not back with their teams.
I'll tell you this. I got a guy walk up to me yesterday while I'm waiting for a sandwich and says to me, Greeny, are we getting Mike Tomlin? He's a Giant fan. And is Mike Tomlin going to be my coach? I mean, there's a little bit of that vibe out there in the air.
And you didn't tell him that you're the inside track. You know
like,
everything going on in the Giants building. I look at these two situations, and they're very different for me because on the Pittsburgh Steelers side with Mike Tomlin, to a certain extent, it's insanity, but they've never hit a full reset with Mike Tomlin as the head coach. So when you bring Aaron Rodgers in, you go get Jalen Ramsey, that was almost like a last-ditch effort with the veterans on the team, the Cam Haywards, the Watson, those guys. It has to be a complete rebuild. On the other side for Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, you have a superstar quarterback. If that's not working, you have to decide, is it possibly quarterback or head coach? That's the issue.
The interesting thing with these two coaches is that Tomlin, everybody in league circles feels like he will be in Pittsburgh as long as he wants to be in Pittsburgh. It's his call. In Baltimore, Eric DeCosta, the GM, and John Harbaugh are next-door neighbors. Like, I just can't imagine these scenarios where they're having those conversations like this is the end.
Every year, the Ravens, after the season, they get together, and it's Bisciotti, and it's DeCosta, and it's Harbaugh, and they talk about all of it, and they do it on a boat. Like, they go on a boat trip, and they discuss it all. It is nice. And they discuss what we're going to do. This makes for a very different tone and tenor of the conversation as far as the offseason if one of them is being talked about as no longer there.
Better bring on the life preservers.
I was going to say.
A couple of them.
You don't want to be on a boat in this situation.
Don't take me on the boat.
We'll see what happens. No, look, I mean, they're both great coaches, and they've had great runs. These things don't go on forever. I mean, you know, they've both been there almost 20 years. At some point, one or both of them are no longer going to be in those jobs. Much more on the NFL as we go.